If you trained well, you'll compete well. If it was easy, everyone would do it and no one would struggle.
There's nothing in life that you can't walk off.
I wouldn't be the person I was there if I don't think I had those things. And that's one little decision at one time that makes a complete ball effect where it all rolls up and gets into one big thing, which is incredible.
Welcome to the Hard Way podcast with Joe De Sena, founder and CEO of Spartan Races. We're teaching you how to overcome your obstacles in your life the same way we teach our 10 million plus Spartans to overcome obstacles on the course. With insight from the smartest, most accomplished experts from every corner of the world. Get ready to elevate your life today.
Joe De Sena here, CEO and founder of Spartan and host of the Hard Way podcast. I got a good buddy of mine on, Barney or Barnaby, either is fine, Ryder. This lunatic is setting swim records all over the world. He's about to swim the English Channel, and he's doing it for mental health for men. Welcome aboard, young man.
Honored to be here. I've had a look at your guests and, it's incredible to be one of them. So thank you.
Tell us what you got going on. You're a dolphin, I guess.
So big English Channel window opens on Friday. So for people that don't know, you get a 10-day window for the English Channel because of weathers and tide. And that opens on Friday, 34K across the English Channel. Should be about 14 degrees when I'm in. So I'm quite early in the season. The open water season's June to September. So I'm quite early. So it will be cold. And you've got to think, no wetsuit, no touching the boat, no assistance, feeding from the boats. You can't touch anyone. And jellyfish are one of the big problems. So yeah, that's me basically.
Diane Nyack took 3 or 4 attempts. There was a nice documentary about her. I actually filmed her for a minute on the podcast, although she got mad at me. I'll tell you that one in a minute. Jellyfish were the big problem for her.
Hers is much more extreme. The English Channel isn't that bad. It's really small ones. So it's little, they're like almost like stinging nettles. They're not that bad, but there can be a lot. And in recent years, with it all warming up, it means we're getting more jellyfish. But that's probably the least of your worries, the mental side.
Like if you think about, not that I want to put any negative thoughts in your head, but if you think about what's coming up here, what runs through your head? I mean, you've done the distance. So what is it? The cold, the jellyfish, what?
I've done close to distance. I've never gone this far. So I've done, the longest I did was 27K in Dubai, which was around the world islands. And that was like 7.5 hours. And that was 21, 22 degrees. So I think the most worrying thing for me, and you'll find this really interesting, is the cold. So mentally for me, I did this all for men's mental health. But for me, it's been the hardest year for me mentally because it's challenged me so much, which I've loved because I've got to get my head and get around that mental barrier, which I really enjoyed because I'm someone that doesn't always struggle. And then to actually feel that struggle has been really good. So for me, the cold has been my biggest worry. And I'll tell you a story. In Croatia, we had a training camp and it was absolutely freezing. And it was really good. It was like 14 degrees and I was ready for, to learn. And the whole idea was I was going to do my 6-hour qualifying swim. So you have to do a 6-hour swim before you can swim the English Channel. And I've done longer swims before. So I was like, oh, this will be absolutely fine. But I've done them much warmer. Anyway, that camp made me realize, and this was only 3 months ago, that I wasn't ready, that I couldn't take the cold. I wasn't good enough. And the problem is with being a good swimmer, and that sounds quite cocky, but being a faster swimmer in the Channel world, you feel like you can do anything. Like I'm a pool swimmer, I'm a national swimmer. I understand how it works. So for me, I feel like, yeah, I'm going to smash it. And then realize it's a whole different sport. So I basically didn't complete my 6-hour. I was too cold. And that taught me so much because I've now learned. So I put on weight. So you're like in the last 2 months, I've put on over 20 kg in basically mass just to feel warmer in the water. So for me, the biggest struggle will be the cold water. But now I feel so much more confident about it that it's no longer a worry. But it was a worry at one point, hugely.
And you've been sleeping and it's inside of a refrigerator? What have you been doing?
Basically eating everything. I've enjoyed it because I love eating. But yeah, it's been just eating whatever. I like bad food, really. It's not healthy at all and you shouldn't do it for very long. But for challenges, sometimes you have to do it. And the nice thing is I did it in the last 2 months. So it hasn't been too long with it. I am looking forward to, after the swim, to cut back and feel less lethargic and just feel good again. But it's been fun.
Did get the 6-hour qualifier done eventually?
So 3 weeks later, I did it in the UK instead of Croatia, where we had that big heat wave here. And basically the lakes warmed up really quickly. So we got to like 15.4. And I think it was, weirdly, the temperature didn't make a difference. It was the fact that mentally I was then ready. because I needed it. Like the 3 weeks after that, I was in such a bad state mentally, like really bad. I wasn't sleeping. I was so worried. But I think it was so good for me because if I didn't fail, and not fail, but in my head I failed in Croatia. But I learned so much, and as we all know, failing is where you learn. But if I didn't have that in Croatia, I wouldn't have completed. I would have just gone in and not changed. So I'm so happy that I did. And then when I completed my 6 hour in the UK, the mind just switched. I was like, oh, I can do this. I know I can do this.
Success could be a trap.
That is exactly it. Success is literally a trap there. If I succeeded, honestly, I think I'd be really doubting. Not doubting, I wouldn't have doubted, but I would, in hindsight, doubted how I would have done in the channel.
The speed bumps. Speed bumps, they make you tougher. They make you more prepared. I remember I was doing a lot of racing at one point in my life, and I got cocky, like you used that word before, and I just thought, oh, I don't need to train. I'm knocking these things out so easily. But it does catch up with you.
And especially it's a different thing. Like we're here, I don't know, I go to a school called Mount Kelly, and we're training, 10 times a week. We're training loads, but it's completely different. You think you're so good because I know I was on this camp, and there's these guys who are not as fit as me, not as fast as me. And I'm like, I'm definitely, if they can swim the English Channel, I can swim the English Channel. And then I realized, but they've got that warmth, they've got the experience. I haven't got that. And that's another thing. Experience is one of the biggest things. I'm completely green going into this. Like this year, I've become more known, but before I didn't have a clue. Like coming up to the start of this year, not a clue.
I liken what you do on a daily basis at school to be like in a greenhouse under perfect conditions, right? And then you get outside the greenhouse and you're put on the side of the mountain. And so I love that people get off the couch and they go in the gym. And I love, that they do competitive stuff sometimes in gyms but really what changes people is outside, unpredictable environments, cold, hot, rain. Like without that, you really don't change. Those
outdoors, you're so right. You're in like your safe little cushion, your bubble of safety where it's all, controlled, you know exactly what's going on. When you're put outside, that separates the boys from the men. That shows when it gets hard and people that can actually control it and people that can't. But it comes down to training. I'm such a big believer on how much you train. That shows when you actually compete. If you trained well, you'll compete well.
No doubt, it builds an inner confidence. So men's health. You had committed to supporting men's health.
I think I know I wanted to. So I knew I wanted to swim this since the age of 12. So I wanted to do it. You can't do it till 16. I booked it about 15 years old, and we've been waiting 2 years. So I knew I wanted to do it for men's mental health since about 3 years now. Because I think a lot of people don't realize people my age, there's a lot of people that struggle mentally, and they normally struggle in silence. That's a normal thing. And what I'm trying to do is get people, one, talking about it, but two, talking isn't always the way people like to get through it. I feel like we always go, oh, just speak to this person, that will sort it. But, listening is a big one. And actually, maybe for one person, talking may not work. Maybe they want to do exercise. So for me, I thought, it works really well doing this cold water and training and all that. Because for me, exercise is the best way. And this may not work for everyone, but I'm such a big believer. And if you can do exercise, even you don't have to go swim the English Channel, go walk, literally a 30-minute walk a day can change so much. And I just want people to see it and maybe go, oh, I'm a little bit motivated. Like if a 17-year-old can do that, come on, I can just go out, get out of bed and just do a little bit of something. And I'm a big pusher for the cold water as well. So cold water is incredible. I assume you've done the ice baths and all that kind of stuff, and mentally it is one of the greatest keys in the world. And that's what I wanted to push. I was like, I've had mates close to me, family that have really struggled, and it's so hard. And then you see them start to change, and they do these different things, and exercise is the one that gets them out of that hole. And it is difficult because if it was easy, everyone would do it and no one would struggle. But that's why we need to do it. So, yeah.
You might be too young for this, but there's a famous saying, there's nothing in life that you can't walk off. And so I think, I've been around lots of people. We've had, 12 million people cross the finish line and all sizes and shapes and people wrestling with things in their head. I'm afraid, and it's made its way around social media, I'm afraid that people end up just talking about it too much and they get on this hyperloop. And really, I love what you said, right? It's swim, bike, run, walk, cold, hot.
Anything.
Yeah.
You're so right with the hyperloop of just talking, because people, at one point you need to stop talking and just do it. Like there needs to be a point where and you can get into the point where, okay, yeah, talking's working, you know, it's nice having a chat and all that, but you then need to go, right, I'm going to talk to my mate, but actually, no, I'm going to take him out for a cycle. I'm going to go, right, let's go running together. Because doing exercise with people as well, I'm a big believer in that. If you can go, oh, mate, I'll do this. And the biggest support you can be to a friend who's struggling is going, oh, I'll do something with you. Because training alone is so difficult. Training in a squad is incredible. Like it's such a good feeling. You're pushing your mates, the camaraderie. Like at your events, you'll see people who never met each other become best friends at the end of an event because they've competed with each other. Like even racing, when you're at like a long 10K swim, the person that you've raced the whole time, by the end of it, when you come out, you're looking at each other, not in during the race, yeah, you want to smack the guy, but at the end of it, you're like best mates because you finally completed it together and you work together, which that I think is the best way you can support people.
We should set up in the UK, we've got a bunch of events between, Spartan and Tough Mudder. And if you want, once you get this challenge completed, you could go out to this community and, to support what you're trying to support. I'll give away a bunch of entries to those events, and we could set up like Barney's crew, whatever you want to call it, right? We can give away 1,000 entries or whatever, and get folks that need it.
Get a community together that want to talk, like an online or in person, and get them together to do something. And it's a nice group activity.
Yeah, consider it done. Let's get you through the swim first. So growing up, I heard it was pretty easy in your house. They wore ascots and never pushed you that hard.
No, with Mark Ryder being a dad, we got into swimming together. So the whole open water started with him, which was incredible. So when we were, God knows, I was so young, we would do a little 800 or 1,000, a mile swim open water. And we'd swim next to each other. And I used to love it. And I was so scared. Like little me, I was properly scared. I hated the starts. Like mass starts were my worst scenario. I'd be like, Dad, come to the back. And my dad was a pretty good swimmer. I wouldn't tell him this, but he was a very good swimmer. So I'd be like, oh, come to the back, please. And then he'd swim by me and look at me the whole time. And I remember the first time we ever did it, we swam side by side for the whole time. And then we did like 3 a year. And from that point onwards, we never swam together ever again because I loved it so much. I just kept on going through to the point where I'd win the event. And it was such a lovely bonding over like sport, which I love. Like that is one of my fondest memories.
That's awesome. I think as dads, uncles, aunts, moms, we need to do stuff more with our kids. You do set the track for the rest of that person's life. Like those swims is what really, it sounds like, set you in that direction.
One little thing that you'll do, it's like, one Saturday morning where you've got to get up and do a swim with the sun may seem like a big thing on the day, but it's completely changed my life trajectory, which is incredible. Like I wouldn't be the person I was today if I don't think I had those things. And that's one little decision at one time that makes a complete, ball effect where it all rolls up and gets into one big thing, which is incredible.
I say all the time, like if you and I were in a spaceship, in a rocket, and you turn one dial just a millimeter to the right, that little decision, no big deal, except you end up on the wrong planet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I agree with you. So what do you recommend to the kids out there that maybe didn't have that mom or dad or mentor that sent them what would you recommend?
Social media nowadays, okay, it is negative in some ways, but you've got to think, lots of people talk about the negative side. There's such a positive side as well. You can get in touch with anyone nowadays, and good people stay in touch. Good people will get in touch with people. So for example, I had so many people that I got in touch with when I first got into it, people I looked up to, and then now I get along really well with them. And for anyone that's like, oh, maybe their parents don't want to get involved, speak to someone, get some advice. Speaking to people is the best way of doing it. And then, as we said, actually doing something about it, getting in a group, getting a community in social media where you all love the same thing, joining on with other people. Like there's so many groups nowadays. You just like, they are out there. You just got to find them. And it could be going, and you've got to go out your comfort zone as well. Like going on these camp comfort zone. It's the way to go. Don't
feel that you have to find a group that does exactly what you do. Go into a group that gets you way outside your comfort zone.
Exactly. And that who knows, that might be your new group. And then you might join another, like you just don't stay in one group either is a good thing. Like try and spread out and just do something. When you come up with an idea, my biggest strength was whenever I'd come up with an idea, I'd do it. I'd say to my dad, random idea. I'd be like, right, I want to do this. And he'd be like, you're not. And then I keep on persistently annoying him about it and my mum. And eventually they'd be like, right, yeah, let's do it. And it's happened with every single one of the things I've wanted to do. So the Dubai 27K around the Dubai World Island. We beat the world record by 2 hours and we did an extra 3K. And that was purely organized. That was in February. I came up with the idea probably a year before that, properly told them in December. We organized it in a month. But that was because I really wanted to do it and they could see that. And without that, again, probably it'd be a different story now. And everything I wanted to do has been like that. So it's just got to be nagging. If you want to do something and you want to do it enough, talk about it. If you say something will happen, it will happen eventually.
You don't know this, but I have inside information that the day before that swim, it was getting organized and reorganized.
I think I've heard little bits, but Dad was in a very stressed. He kept the camp calm, as they say, because obviously I didn't want to know any of that. But yeah, plans changed, I think 12 hours before the swim on what I was doing. But that's one good parents when they keep the person calm, and which was great, what I needed.
Well, I don't know if you agree with this, but it sounds like you do. One of my sayings is fire, ready, aim, because you could have sat around and planned forever, but most people do that and they never actually take the shot.
Yeah.
Right. So you took the shot. You were already in the air, flying to Dubai, like whatever it is. We're doing this.
Exactly, and that is a great saying, because I want to get it done. Like, the more thinking you do, great. You got to be cautious. I'm not saying like don't be stupid, but just get going, because what's going to go wrong? Like, you might as well just do it. The worst thing is you fail, but as I've learned this year, is you're going to learn from it. Like, there's only positive outcomes from big things, which is great. So organize events, not even just organize, join events, like your events, for example. Like, just get on them, go do them. Even if you fail it, you learn to work harder, train harder, whatever it is. You learn a life lesson.
What's next after the English Channel?
I've got a lot of plans. So many ideas going around. I know I want to do some organization. There's a couple of big swims I want to do, but I need help with them and that kind of stuff. But I want to do the coast of Cornwall, which is a big one that I've always wanted to swim. A swim that I came up with a couple of months ago was the length of Dubai, 77K across there would be a really cool swim. And obviously, from living in Dubai, that holds quite close to my heart. And I really enjoyed doing, the Dubai island, and especially having the organization out there. The guys are incredible. Like, it is really good out there. So that's another one I'd really like to do. The Ocean 7, have you heard of that? The 7 toughest swims. So the different 7 Oceans, a bad name for it, but it's what it's called. And it's basically one everywhere, which is that's a really good one. So yeah, I've got lots of ideas, but it's just getting them sorted and finding the time.
How do people find you?
Instagram at Barney_Ryder is my Instagram. And then I've got also a podcast where we talk to swimmers and all that kind of stuff. And then we're also raising money for men's mental health. So Man Up, they're an incredible charity, like really, really good. They are about talking, but they're not just about talking. They're about research, which I love. Researching what works for different people. We can promote talking, but what does money do to talking? Research is what we want, which I absolutely love. So with my page at the moment, we've raised like $7,000, 7.5 grand. So really happy, aiming for 10, a week and a bit to go. So fingers crossed. So yeah.
Is it at Man Up or is it Barney_Ryder? How do they donate?
Ryder, my bio, you just click on it and then you can go to the page, or just search Barney Ryder fundraising. It'll come up.
Anybody that donates, I'll give free races to. So we'll swap. They give dollars to what you're trying to do. We'll give tickets for them.
Thank you so much. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'd love to do one of your events after I got the channel done. And if you organize any swimming stuff, I am there straight away.
Well, we'll get you out of your comfort zone. You'll have to act like a gorilla rather than a dolphin for a day and get on land.
Yeah. Not great on land, to be fair. So that'll be fun. But yeah, get out of your comfort zone. You need to do it.
Thanks for coming aboard.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. I've really enjoyed it.